not so much recently, but like I want to say like 3-4 years ago, Yasuo was actually quite often an answer to Gnar in the top lane, and obviously a large part of that is because you have the win wall. If he ever throws a boomerang, it puts it on a 20-second cooldown, but you don't have that same thing as Yone, so I wonder if it was possibly even a sort of a way to look for the Yasuo top here.
Yeah, it could just be kind of a replacement for it almost. It feels like Yasuo is a bit more reliant on the rest of your team having, some sort of engage. We kind of see Yasuo picked pretty much exclusively in pro with the Diana. Just because it makes that engage so easy. Although with the Gragas could be pretty solid.
Yeah, Gragas Lulu offers a lot of knock-up as well. Even Sejuani Q in the isolated 2v2. Anyway, it will be the Yone, ultimately. And the ult is definitely more self-reliant than Yasuo's is.
For sure, yeah. And interesting choice, I think, by Nesty in mid. Does go for the Comet, which allows him to poke Pretender down quite a lot. Pretender even went for the Conqueror, so doesn't have the Fleet. You kind of see Fleet sometimes picked up against skill shot mid laners because the movement speed does allow you to dodge out a lot of additional harass. We'll have to see how that matchup ends up going. Does have the Dawn Shield second wind on the Akali, so can take up a lot of this, but I mean, the Comet does add quite a lot of extra damage to the lane.
Yeah, we're seeing a battle again here in bot lane, and it is going the way of DCG at the moment, although it's slowly turning around, and Nami will have access to heal already at this level 1. Should be DCG picking up priority in this bot lane, though. We've seen this matchup hundreds of times now, almost.
It does feel like it. We have seen this matchup in the PCS just so often. And I'd be curious to see whether or not Hollow goes the same build as last game, or if he does want to go towards something like the Demonic, because while there is still a lot of magic damage, I think this time, there is stuff like the Sejuani, that having the HP shred against could be kind of nice. See what he ends up going for, though, as in mid lane, Nesty is securing himself quite a bit of prior, and taking a look at top as well. Hanabi gets level 2, goes on to solo kill, manages to get a small trade for himself there. And we'll have to be a little careful, Hanabi, because his jungler is pathing down the map, whereas on the other side, Frank Esports' Maokai is pathing up. So we're going to have a scary window here where if he can't get the wave under tower, maybe in a gankable spot.
DCG doing a good job here of using this level 2 to try and zone Eminem away from these minions. We'll hit level 2 now, though, and that gives a lot of power back to the side of Frank, and pretty even, all things considered, down in the bot lane. Hollow spotted out on a ward there, so they will know his position, and you have to think Hanabi will play around that respectively.
Yeah, he's going to go now place himself a ward, so we'll be safe up there. And Hana as well, matching on the bot side. Maybe looking for a bot dive. He's probably just going to sweep out vision and confirm that no one's around. And he is pinging on the way. So Frank Esports, I think they have the sums to survive this, but might end up losing some. They're getting poked down. Hana's going to look. I'm not sure how well this works, though, to be honest.
Yeah, Minion Wave almost eliminated here, but Nesty coming down as well. Looks like we might have a 4-man dive. Minion Wave is going to die now. Teleport's both available for Pretender and solo kill, so it makes it a bit more risky, but ultimately it will be Frank surviving and nothing to come of that roam, and gives Akali, honestly, some nice time to be able to farm without that harass. As Eminem now going aggressive, Cascada jumping forward. Eminem going to have to use that cleanse as Bubble will land, and huge trades happening bot, but no kills as of yet.
It was getting pretty close, and like you said, it's very nice for Pretender on the Akali to get this wave shoved out while Nesty goes bot, and it wasn't even any sums burned by that gank. The cleanse was burned in the little scuffle afterwards, but not the start I guess you'd want. When you're committing 4 members bot, it kind of feels like you should almost always pick up a kill, but just weren't quite low enough. Pretender is going to find himself with a small lead in this matchup, and top lane as well, relatively stable.
Yeah, bot does have a 10 CS lead for that Zeri, which is really good, especially considering you do look to bully out early. But now with the serrated Dirk, we might see this lane be played out just that much different, and probably see this gap close just a little bit.
Big minion wave here, solo kill. Maybe going to look for something. Does just narrowly miss the W there. Pretender could just go for his reset. Oh, cancels it actually. He's going to try to stick around. Maybe needs a little bit more gold. And most Akalis do go for the Proto Belt these days, but we do see some of them pick up the Night Harvester. See which one Pretender ends up going for. And there is potentially a gank coming in mid. Hana He's around the side.
Pretender will get knocked up there by Body Slam. Will flash away as well as Shuriken. Hana, though, only just misses the whip as Hollow here to protect. Nesty, no mana. Will be okay to get out with the Akali, but flash burnt from him. And honestly, it's kind of a one trade in a way because he got 2 flashes for himself as well.
Yeah, I think 2 flashes being down is obviously better for Frank, as well as the fact that Akali without flash after level 6 is completely fine, and it does kind of mitigate a lot of Gragas's aggressive potential.
Aggression bubble does land here as Eminem looks for a trade, but it is Chris Carter winning for now. Eminem does have to flash away. First spot to Chris Carter. Kaiwing now flashing away. Can they find it? They won't for now, but first blood for Zeri against the Lucian Nami.
Very, very nice there from DCG's bot lane, and something that I think Frank didn't respect enough in the trade was Cruscata having that bone plating. You saw the bubble land on a Cruscata, but the entire Lucian combo was kind of eaten by that bone plating, and that reduces damage so much, and then Walls was chased down. So if you look now at the bot lane lead, it's extremely large for Cruscata. You kind of see here, Frank, they were trying to get aggressive with their item advantage. The bone plating wasn't up at the moment, so it wasn't procced by the W, but you see here, no damage dealt into the bone plating and the barrier, and Eminem was just chased down afterwards, and honestly disastrous, I think, right? If you are going to Lucian Nami, you do need to find a pretty significant lead early, and instead being on the other end of that, being down to the Lucian, or sorry, to the Zeri Lulu, it's a rough start.
Yeah, it definitely is, and maybe with that, I mean, Hollow could maybe look to try and find something around here. He is on the bot side, just getting a pink on that blue for now, but either now, I don't know if you try and play to get this Lucian back into a commanding spot, or if perhaps you look elsewhere on the map. I mean, Pretender could be a good place to look. It is hard to set up any ganks as Akali, but maybe look for more 2v2 type action.
Coming is around mid. Looks like Pretender can crash this, and maybe now you start looking towards this first dragon. They do have priority in the lanes currently, and I think a skirmish with Akali in it, especially while Cruscata doesn't have sums, could be favorable. Although Akali only has the Mercs, doesn't have a lot of damage just yet. And having to go Mercs first, I mean, you have to feel it's the correct decision up against the Sedge Gragas, but it does delay the Akali hitting that Mythic for a pretty significant amount of time, which can feel pretty tough, I think. You know, a lot of these early skirmishes are kind of reliant on the Lucian and Akali to carry them, and with Lucian behind and Akali forced to itemize defensively, feels like DCG are going to kind of get through this, you know, maybe weak early game relatively in form, and then once they hit this stride in the mid game, the Zeri Lulu as well as the Yon Sejuani, it's going to be a very tough kind of nut to crack for the side of Frank Esports. Yeah, absolutely would, and wouldn't be the PCS playoffs without a pause, would it? Certainly wouldn't.
I wonder what this is. Possibly an internet fault. We've seen that quite a lot so far, but yeah, I don't know. Where do you look now as sort of Eminem and Kaiwing? We see Kaiwing already did go to that mid lane, maybe suggesting he is going to look for more roams and allow Eminem to try and pick up some CS by himself, but really dire.
It is, yeah, and I think that while it is only a small gold lead currently for the side of DCG, it's really, you're not expecting your Lucian army to fall behind at all, let alone this far behind. And I think part of the problem with that as well is that there aren't really those tools from the rest of the map to bail them out, right? In the previous game, Pretender on the LeBlanc was able to have a lot of impact in that bot river, was getting priority and kind of forcing jungle to come mid to match. But in this game, Akali can't really get active on the map until she completes that Mythic. Can kind of come to river fights, but you're not expecting her just to roam to another lane. So for now, at least, is kind of pinned in this lane. You can see Nesty abusing the fact that Akali's wave clear early definitely suffers, and it looks like they're playing for another 4-man bot. This time, Eminem and Kaiwing do not have the flashes, and they're going to be forced away. Yeah,
Nesty coming really, really wide here, and maybe able to find something onto Kaiwing. He will back away, but again, plate now given to Cruscata. As hard as looking, he will land the Glacial Prison. Importantly, cleansed away here from Eminem, and nothing else to be found. But again, another wave will die. Turret plate picked up by Cruscata. It's just more and more gold onto the Zeri and taken away from Lucian.
It's really, really nice play there from the side of DCG. Like you said, so much gold denied onto that Lucian, and even if Akali gets away for free mid, what does it matter? Your Gragas doesn't mind really if he's not super efficient. Hollow does not have the flash yet. I don't think he can chase Hollow, so he's gonna get out, although maybe they look for more.
Yeah, okay, so disaster here for the bot lane of Frank, and I mean, you do have one silver lining at the moment, and that is solo kill up in this top lane. He's at a 15 CS advantage, and it looks like he's winning out trades for now. And if Frank can somehow hold on to not losing this dragon for a while, it will be good for them. Although Zeri's going to be so happy in this lane to be ahead and be scaling. She will do so much more than Lucian in these team fights as the game progresses on.
Certainly will. Zeri Lulu scaling cannot be underestimated. There's Frank with the control right now, who are going to pick up this first drag, but I think you're completely fine with this as DCG. If you can hit kind of that one item spike across the board, you're going to feel very comfortable hitting the mid game, and I think as you kind of accelerate towards even the second and third items, should pull ahead. We kind of have to keep our eyes on how this top matchup goes throughout the game, because you kind of feel like Hanabi should outscale in the matchup, although it's actually getting traded on pretty heavily by solo kill.
Yeah, solo kill, dodging out of that knock-up there, and he's playing around Yone so well, and now with Ninja Tabis, it does feel like he will be in a commanding position for top lane for a while. It just eliminates so much damage from Yone, and man, I don't know where you can look as this bot lane here from Frank. The wave's in a terrible spot.
Yeah, Wave not only in a terrible spot, but Hana, you have to feel like he is just going to pass straight bot with this Herald. And if Nesty can continue to get priority, should just be able to walk down and four-man bot again. Really feeling the kind of lack of priority in this mid lane. Decent trade coming out from Pretender, but so difficult to move a Catalyst Gragas out of the lane. At least for now, though, does have the wave clearing. Obviously, a huge wave here to be picked up by Eminem, but look at the bot CS. Pretty substantial, and another plate about to fall means that Herald here is almost going to kill the tower. Probably gets it down to about one plate. Is now dropped. Nesty, I don't think he can come down.
Okay, nice culling there. Finds a little bit of damage, but definitely not enough. Hollow down in the area, though, so looking to sort of stop any more aggression and probably look for a counter any possible dives here. As Glacial Prison news, Eminem will be locked up, no cleanse available, he does go down, and it's a free kill as well as 2 plates now for DCG in this bottom lane.
Yeah, wow, so much gold there for DCG, and you almost feel like Eminem on Illusion is just completely out of this game. I think maybe his cleanse wasn't quite up, was just engaged on, and now it's really up to Pretender and Solo Kill to put this game on their backs, because the bot side is well and truly out of the game. Cascada now so accelerated. Probably can look to pick up that first tower before plates go down as well. Solo kill.
Initiation. Solo Kill dodges out of that Yone ult and finds a better trade as well. So definitely the silver lining at the moment for the side of Frank. And honestly, while we are talking about that bot lane CS gap, somehow it is Pretender now pulling ahead by almost 20, well, actually over 20 CS. I think largely because of Nesty's roams, but this is giving some hope here for Frank. The gold lead is substantial, but it's all onto Zeri, and if they can find that kill, it will be very nice for them, and then honestly probably puts them at an advantage in any fight.
Maybe, yeah. If you can somehow take out Cascada on the Zeri, the top side of Frank Esports is definitely strong, but taking out the Zeri with the barrier as well as the Lulu seems so hard. And Eminem forced off more waves here as the members of Frank Esports commit to that top side, and that should be the first tower going down. Hanabi is being denied pretty significantly on the other side of the map, but you really just are accepting that Lucian is not going to be a relevant factor in this game.
Yeah, getting to the point now where all he's really going to be most likely is sort of a culling bot.
Yeah, going to be real sad to see his damage, I think, especially with the Dirk. You know, it's something you kind of pick up to snowball the early game, but hasn't found that at all, and now is extremely behind the Zeri. In fact, might not even have the Mythic as Zeri works on her second item. Definitely feeling rough here. Now, that was a pretty substantial amount of gold denied onto Hanabi on the other side of the map, so Solo Kill is at least going to continue winning the side lane for now.
Yeah, likely his Triforce with this recall too, so as we saw last game, it's just going to get better for him, and at least in the short run.
Yeah,
will be Triforce.
A Triforce spike is very strong. It's going to try and save his TP and just path back out. And the next dragon does spawn in just a minute here. I'd be very surprised if Frank try and contest it. I think it might be better to just try and complete your Mythic on Akali, try and allow Solo Kill just to have an isolated 1v1, because I think any fight that has Zeri in it right now feels just so difficult. But we'll see. I mean, maybe now is the time to fight, right? Before Zeri can get even more items.
Yeah,
and
you do have a really strong Gnar as well as Akali close to her Mythic. We'll have to see if she can get that as she's pushing down this bot lane. 30 seconds now on the Dragon.
And Hanabi clears out these top waves. Tower is getting a little low though, so I think eventually Solo Kill will be able to grab this. And does have a lot of top priority, so can always look to move down, although he does not have TP, so he has to decide pretty early if he wants to move to this. Instead, might just continue pushing top, which I think would be the better decision overall.
Yeah, with Hollow going there, it looks like that will be the play. Nesty is answering though, so if they do try and look for a dive, it's going to be extremely dangerous and might even undo this lead that Solo Kill's found for himself, as Nesty will be seen. Nature's Graph's used. Gnar is also used here onto Nesty. He's rooted up for a long time. Teleport now in from Pretender. He uses that Execution's mark. He does get it as he's following on forward. He doesn't quite hit that Shuriken onto Hanabi, who has to flash away from it. So it is a kill found from Frank. It goes onto Pretender, importantly, and Tower likely to follow.
I think, yeah, pretty nice trade there from the side of Frank. It looked like DCG might have been able to stabilize with Nesty coming up. But unfortunately, maybe just played it a bit too aggressively. Rather than just clearing out the wave, they actually tried to go for some sort of fight after. And now that means that Solo Kill's lead in this top side is very significant, as well as Pretender up 20 CS and a kill. And the gold lead is relatively equalized despite starting off, at that huge deficit. And, even when Lucian Army does fall behind, has this massive spike here at the Gale Force and Mandate completed. And before Cascada completes his second item, I think there is a window where Frank could look to get aggressive. Still not even the Rod of Ages completed on Nesty either. Did obviously lose quite a bit of CS moving towards those bot plays, and throughout the whole series has kind of been willing to give up CS to make plays on the map, and unfortunately they haven't worked out the best for him. Herald is being started up though, and I think Frank probably will be content to let this go. Solo Kill is just bot lane without TP, but can continue to build up his lead in that 1v1. And Hanabi, without his item completed, does need to be kind of careful in the side lane against Pretender. Lots of members around mid now. Might just see a Herald dropped early.
Nice damage out of the culling onto Orca, but ultimately won't find much more than that. And I want to point out that we are going to see a different Gnar build out of Solo Kill this game. He went Witsend second last, and now he is going what looks to be the Black Cleaver as his second item in this game. So we'll offer him a little bit more damage in the straight 1v1, as he does find quite a nice chunk of damage onto Nesty here using that Gnar ult.
It is good to pick up, but Gragas, with all that sustain as well as the ulti, can just kind of keep this bot tower alive for so long.
We do see the start of a fight here onto Hollow. He will flash away. Cascada, though, going forward, does actually get bubbled, and that will be the end of the fight. So nice by Kaiwing to follow that. And nothing becomes of that just yet. So Frank, hold on just a little bit longer. They really can't afford to give Cascada any more gold in this game.
They certainly can't, and Cascada there, he did manage to get 2 sums from the Nami as well as flash from Hollow. Herald has dropped mid, and there's not a lot of wave clear here for the side of Frank, so I think this should just go down. Although Pretender, he's trying to do his best to threaten with the flank.
Yeah, Kaiwing finds another bubble onto Cascada, which means he does get chunked out quite a bit, and he's playing really well on this Nami despite the deficit they're finding themselves in to deny Cascada a lot of action.
Bot tower as well looks like it is slowly being shipped away by Solo Kill. It does take a very long time, but Nesty has used his ult, so doesn't have that for this next wave. Pretender is pulling very far ahead in that 1v1. Despite the massive lead that Cascada has, it really is just on him. And he is, I'd say, a pretty safe bet, right? You've got the Zeri and the Lulu, which, again, in the PCS has looked so dominating time and time again. But Solo Kill and Pretender, they're going to have something to say about that. They've also got themselves very strong leads.
Yeah, and while you pointed out Pretender and Solo Kill do have themselves leads, Gragas and Yone, and especially Sejuani as well, are such great champs for being able to peel for Cascada and just let him do what he needs to do. But it is up to Cascada ultimately to play well enough to show why they put so much priority in getting him ahead here in this bottom lane.
Solo Kill now is going to use that priority to maybe move up the river. It's very difficult, I think, to actually break this bot tier 1, because the problem is DCG have so much control over this mid wave that means anytime Solo Kill really looks towards the bot tower, he can't stay there for long. And on top of that, you can't really bring members on the side of Frank Esports down to actually force Nesty away from that tower. So he's just always able to wave clear it. But there's still a sizable CS lead here for Solo Kill. And only 40 seconds on this next Dragon. I think both teams will be wanting to pretty heavily contest this. All TPs are available except for Nesty's. And he's already in the area. Pretender can probably deny this wave and then look to either TP or even walk down.
You know what I want to say? I feel like this is the latest Rod of Ages that I've seen in the PCS, at least so far. It got completed at 18 minutes, which means it won't fully upgrade till 28. And honestly, by then it kind of loses a lot of its effectiveness, you have to feel.
Yeah, I mean, did go for both the tier and the tier 1 boot or tier 2 boots and fell pretty far behind. Solo Kill instead chooses to TP top, so they're giving the drag.
Yeah, ulting for the wave there and does a great job of taking it out, and that'll be the play stopped.
Yeah, I think they probably just thought they could TP and take that top tier 2, but it was really nicely played by Hanami to just be able to clear that out. So ultimately, the play doesn't work at all, and it's just Solo Kill's TP invested and the Dragon given away.
Yeah, but weird is Dragon actually not yet given away as recalls do come through, but Solo Kill heading towards that top lane as well as Hollow doing his Krugs. It will be DCG able to pick this up. Delaying it a bit though, and I don't know why they did that, or maybe it was a mistake, but...
Was a bit strange. The Black Cleaver, now completed for Solo Kill, is very, very strong here at these two items. Looks like it will be the Shadow Flame being worked on for Pretender, which, you know, does give him that higher kill potential onto the Zeri. But it can be quite difficult, I think, to play the Akali with no Zhonya in this game. There's a lot of threat and a lot of CC that can come out. Obviously, has the Merc Treads and the mobility, but it is difficult. It's kind of a bit like navigating a minefield, it feels like, in these team fights. We'll see if he's able to do so. Then that side lane has to be quite careful to Hanami now, does Pretender, because I think doesn't quite have the damage.
Oh, Nesty finds a nice stun there with his Gnar, and he's going to have to run away from Solo Kill.
Yeah, still getting good trades for himself, and with that Gragas ult used, maybe now there's a way to start hitting this tier 2 top tower. They have a lot of vision, as well as Hollow in the area, but they are going to spot out Hana and Orca, and that should cause Solo Kill to move away.
Frank honestly have been doing a real good job of not bleeding any gold lead any further. In fact, it is getting closer and closer, which is really good for them, but ultimately, Cascada's going to be such a mission to take down in these fights. You do have Twisted Advance, which is the best lockdown you really have, and maybe during that you can find something with both Pretender and Solo Kill. We see a fight start off, Glacial Prison will land, but Culling answered as Hana doesn't really take any damage from this Lucian.
Yeah, the Sejuani so tanky up against the Lucian that is building the Dirk. And even after all that used, is still here and very, very high HP. Can they look for some sort of re-engage? There's some pretty important cooldowns missing from the side of Frank.
Ooh, nice poke there. Lands onto Cascada, and he has a little bit of sustain, but not that much now, so find a bit of reprieve for the side of Frank as the solo laners, again, in these side lanes, just finding more and more CS for themselves.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of CS being picked up, but it just never leads to the towers being hit, because without this mid priority, it's so hard to feel comfortable pushing up like that. So while Frank is still getting gold for themselves, you have to wonder, because it feels like the 5v5, you know, barring a massive performance from Solo Kill or Pretender, should just go the way of DCG. But eyes, you know, should probably be on Cascada. You know, I think most top ADCs in the league here would be able to carry this game with how fed you've gotten. So Cascada, if he wants to be counted among them, needs to put up a very big performance here.
Absolutely does, and I suspect there won't be too much action, barring a few scuffles, until that third dragon does spawn. Although we do see Hollow now getting jumped on by Hana, but stays full health and they will back away from each other. Vision dominance is inside of DCG, although that's not surprising considering the luxury they have of having such a fed AD carry. Roaming up and looking like they're going to start this Baron as Hollow gets Glacial Prison. It is okay to get out of there though. Tidal Wave hits 4.
Okay, and finally, a side lane tower will be destroyed as a result. I'm surprised that so many members from DCG committed to this, given that they have TPs available. But now, solokill, he finally manages to completely tie up this gold lead. It is completely even. I would still say the scaling probably does advantage the side of DCG, but it's still definitely close enough that it will come down to teamfight execution. And with how fed solokill and Pretender are, especially given their Game 1 performance, you have to be feeling pretty good about Frank's chances, considering the way this game started.
Yeah, they've definitely done an amazing job to sort of climb their way back in, and that's largely due to the solo laners, but also Eminem is starting to find his foothold in the game a bit. I mean, he's 0-2-0 as the shutdown does just go away. He had a 150 gold shutdown for a time there. He is managing to find some CS for himself. He's at that 2 item as solokill comes back to this bot lane and is doing quite a lot of damage now in this mini form against the Gragas.
He's level 15 as well, very early into this game. He's actually level 16 now on solokill, so very, very accelerated. Has 2 levels over Nesty right now in that side lane. He's going to keep pushing bot as well. Now, the third dragon for DCG is in only 35 seconds, and I think, again, both teams probably want to contest this. There's a lot of spikes being completed across the board. We got Shadow Flame on Akali, BT picked up on Hanabi. Will the Navori be picked up by Zeri? I don't think she quite has the gold for it, but obviously would be a very nice pickup if you could manage it. Gonna back off. I mean, okay, the recall comes through. Maybe it does actually have a Navori? Surely doesn't. But what else would you be basing for at this point?
Possibly just the Warhammer. If
Does
not.
have it.
Oh,
wow.
There we go. Okay, so all eyes really on Cascada in this next fight. Is he able to pivot and not get taken down by who you'd have to think would be a combination of Hollow and either of the solo laners, if not both? Dragon started by the side of Frank as Towers being traded here on the top side. It looks like they're actually just going to give it. A solo kill is soloing that Dragon at the moment. Although Baron now started from DCG. Do they just take solo kill away from this? He does have teleport available. Will be losing Mega Gnar very shortly, although we've seen what he can do in that mini Gnar form in these team fights.
Yeah, and I think this fight, very, very important.
Hanabi will be committing that ult here as Tidal Wave falls back. Hollow finds Twisted Advance, but it is onto Nesty. Culling, what can it do? It does a bit of damage. Cascada down to now half health. Solokill joining the team. Does pick up that Dragon. It is no kills traded over. Hollow finds a magic trick to get out of that team fight, honestly.
Yeah, it was so close. It looked disastrous there because Hollow was about to die, and then that could have been Baron going over to DCG. But luckily manages to live, and that buys time for solokill to come up to that fight. So ultimately, it's just the Dragon picked up there, 2-2.
Pretender looking here for Nesty. Finds a couple of shurikens, but it doesn't really do that much damage. As Mega Gnar now available again for solo kill. If there was an option to start a fight, it's likely to be here. There is no Zeri ult, importantly, so your huge lead that you have on this AD carry is fairly neutralized by the fact she doesn't have that ability that really allows her to play these team fights how she needs to.
Yeah, could definitely be something to think about. In what will most likely be a Dragon fight again, I don't think that we're going to see Baron looked at least for now. Probably we'll just go back to these side lanes. And I think that it is quite difficult for DCG to really accelerate further in this game. And while they don't really need to, it would be nice, I think, to really put the pressure on with the Zeri. But the problem is your side lanes just aren't really strong enough. You know, solokill especially is just permanently pushing on the side. So whenever you feel like you can force something as DCG, you have to match, but maybe don't want to deal with the split push anymore. I'm just going to try force solokill to TP to this.
Yeah, it's going down real quick as Hanabi jumps over. He does get Twisted Advance. Solokill now teleporting in. Hana will find the kill onto Hollow. Nice Gnar here finds Nesty, but Wild Growth to keep him alive. Cascada, half health as Pretender goes in, is not able to find Hanabi just yet. Kaiwing trying to 1v1 the Yone isn't also going to find it. Cascada's ult going to go down now soon. What can Solokill do? This is really up to him now. He's finding a lot of damage now onto Zeri. Will likely find someone to Hana. Is he able to find a kill? No, he's going to get flash body slammed and shut down. Teleport now coming in for Nesty, and no, it's not Nesty, it's Hanabi, and it will likely be Baron here for DCG.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can stop this. Eminem does not have the culling, and it will just go over to DCG in a fight that they win 3-0. And I guess now you're starting to see, you know, the side of DCG they've scaled very well into this game, and their team fight is extremely strong as well as easy to execute. Kind of ticks all the boxes and find themselves with a very good lead here. Initial engage onto Hollow. I mean, it actually looked decent. There was a lot of damage traded, but you know, the Malcolm was taken out very early, and not a lot of damage actually traded back. And in solo kill, he finds a Nara, but it is just onto tanks. Pretender as well couldn't quite find the kill onto Hanabi. Left him very, very low. The flash out saved him. And unfortunately, Kaiwa, he tried to get the kill, but couldn't quite manage it. Solo kill really tried his best to turn this around. Unfortunately, he did just overextend, and I believe it was just a body slam that came out of Nesty. He didn't even have the flash, which kind of sealed the deal for him. Oh, it did have the flash. Was taken out. Shutdown picked up there. Walker Scott on the Zeri. So Frank, they've got to try and pull the rabbit out of the hat, find the magic trick the Hollow found before. Because it's so hard now, getting sieged down by a comp that you have to feel like out team fights and outscales you. You really don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, Solo Kill is going to be stunned up here as Cascada commits the ult. Can Solo Kill get away? He's trying his best. He's going to be able to find Mega. Stun will not land onto Cascada as he jumps over. That stun does. He manages to get out for now, but Hollow now out of position. It is importantly, Zeri's ult now is still up, is it? No, it is down. So no Zeri ult, but will find one kill onto Kaiwing. I don't know how Solo Kill got out, but he managed to. But with that kill now, mid-in are going to go down as well, and possibly more.
Yeah, I think can probably get more. There's not a lot of wave clear from Frank at all. The Akali can't walk up to these waves. Lucian as well does not have the culling. And I would expect this to be at least one, if not two inhibs picked up here. DCG, if they manage to find some engage, could maybe even play for more. And it looks like Frank, they're trying to get aggressive, maybe trying not to let this happen, but it feels so difficult.
Zeri ult not available, importantly, but with that polymorph is going to be okay to just run away, as Dragon now spawns in 30 seconds, and you have to feel like setup tempo should actually be in favor of Frank, as DCG are yet to recall.
Yeah, those resets will come through, and that's going to allow Frank to be the ones to control this area. But I think despite that, I'm going to have an extremely tough time in the team fight, down a significant amount of gold, and you kind of reach the point where Pretender can't really kill anyone. Cascada and Hanabi are both just too strong. So what's your real goal here is Akali? You can't kill any of the tanks. Maybe you can kill Orca's Lulu. But it looks like it's going to be a standoff 5v5 in the river, and it's one that you have to think heavily favors the side of DCG. I think barring massive teamfight misexecution, should handily win this teamfight.
Yeah, Solo Kill building up now, but Hollow is going to get stunned up here and taken out immediately. Pretender half health coming in from the side, but Hana's going to be matching him. Hanabi also on the top there, matching Solo Kill, and everything going completely right here for DCG. Eminem will likely be taken down, is going to go over to Cascada. That is 2 kills now found for the side of DCG as they look to push bot.
Yeah, can they look to take another inhib off that? Their Baron has now run out. The Baron power play that was 5,000 gold lead for them. It's extremely big. And with the QSS completed here, as well as the Mikhail's, all for Cascada, he's going to be so hard to take out. Doesn't look like an inhib can be broken, but maybe just this bot tier 2, which would certainly accelerate them even further. Third Dragon here is picked up by Hanabi, and it's now DCG who, in game 2, fight back and are holding all the cards currently.
Absolutely, and I don't really know what you can do here as the side of Frank. I mean, your next item for Akali is going to be Zhonya's, which doesn't offer you much sort of damage in this fight. Doesn't really help you kill the Zeri all that much. Just a bit of delay it within the team fight. So Solo Kill slowly getting himself some armor, but we saw it last fight. Hanabi's okay to just find him and just battle him, and he doesn't go down anymore. So I don't know what you can really do as a side of Frank. Obviously, you can't afford to give over this Baron spawning in 2 minutes.
Yeah, you really have to try and make something happen, but it feels like you can't win any fights. And Pretender, going towards that Zhonya, while we'll give him a bit of safety, almost guarantees that he's never going to kill either Hanabi or Cascada. So really feels like you're kind of out of options here from Frank. You're kind of just hoping the DCG massively throw, kind of allow you to steal the Baron or something like that.
Yeah, maybe the only way to really do it is to try and get the Navori onto Lucian, because at the moment he's obviously lacking quite a bit of damage. He's got some armor pen to try and get through as Solo Kill flashes away from the ult of Hanabi, and Also teleport there as we do see a fight break out mid. It is going to be Beryl landing onto Hana as disengage come through for Frank, but importantly are getting that teleport as well as Zeri's ult down. Solo kill now trying to find something on the bot side, but with 4 members converging, Cascada making a bit of a mess of that E. It is now up to Solo kill to try and find a way out here. All the members of Frank are also coming in return. Solo kill cutting really well now. Does go Mega, is going to find actually it's Zonya'd away, so can they find Nessie on the back end? Flash committed, he is going to get out for now, as Hollow is trying to go onto Hana. Definitely not the ideal target. Mega Gnar going to be up again soon, but no Mega Gnar ult at the moment. It is disengaged from, and important there that Solo Kill is able to find his way out without dying.
Yeah, I think very well played there from Solo Kill. Managed to get out of what it looked like a pretty tough situation to be in. But it kind of feels like you are just delaying the inevitable. And you don't really have long left before it reaches that 15 seconds on this Baron, something that DCG can probably look to start pretty much straight away. Could maybe take the time to establish a little bit of vision in that topside jungle before starting it up, but instead, looks like they are just looking to take it pretty much immediately. If they could break that blast cone first, it would be good. ST's on it.
Just goes straight up in the air, but yeah, as you said, Baron now started. Hollow has to be so careful. He should be able to get a sapling and spot this out. Is going to see that the Baron is at half health. The answer at the moment is just to commit both solo laners to bot side, perhaps giving over this Baron, looking for a fight with some more gold. It is going to be an attempted steal here from Hollow. Can he get into the pit? He's just getting bounced around everywhere. He doesn't find his way in, as Orca now left alone in the Baron, keeping that aggro. One tower does go down for the side of Frank, but ultimately Baron for the side of DCG.
Yeah, Frank, they trade what they can, but it does just feel like you don't have any winning options at this point. It's really just choose the one that's least bad at this point. Hollow also tries to go for the Miracle Steal, but can't quite find it. And this should be DCG starting to put those kind of finishing touches on the game. The minute 30 on their 4th Dragon, but do they even need it? Are now pushing this top wave. Now, interestingly, there are no TPs up, which means that Hanami is very long from being able to push any of these waves. Currently, it's a 4v5 on top side. It might be the best fight that Frank can even find.
Solo Kill's looking. Navori finished here by Eminem too, so a bit more damage. Hana finds a nice initiation on the Pretender, who has to go golden in that Shroud. Cascada gets hit by a barrel, but it's not going to mean anything as Solo Kill running for his life. Zeri ult is used here, though. It is going to manage to find 1 kill now onto Solo Kill, but that is so much of your team's gold. It's going to be a 4v5 to try and protect this base against Baroned up DCG.
And I think DCG should just clear this up. There's no wave clear. There should be probably at least 2 inhibs falling. And honestly, could just play for more. Frank, they're really just not strong enough to contest this. The Akali ult down as well. I mean, she's pretty much not a champion currently. They have the waves to do it. Will they look to keep pressuring? I think they will. A little bit of poke coming out.
Can there be any answer? There is no Zeri ult right now, so there is your best chance. Maybe trying to delay for Solo Kill to respawn, but Nexus Towers both down to half as Nature's Grasp comes out. Can it find Cascada? It will not, and it's now no Nexus Towers. Eminem does use that culling, doesn't find really any damage to speak of as Orca flashes over to Cascada now. It is Hanabi looking for Eminem, will not find it. Hollow finds Twisted Advance, but nothing yet as Cascada works on this Nexus now. Flash engage, will find Hana, not the tug he wants. Solo Kill's respawned. Will Hanabi even go down? It is 5 members strong. DCG, they are going to take game number 2.
At DCG, they really fight back here, tie up the series 1-1, and in a very one-sided game, 11-1, held control of it pretty much the entire time, ever since they did pick up that 2v2 kill in the bot lane. And I want to say it felt like Frank got kind of finessed both in the draft and in the gameplay, right? It kind of looks like your Lucian Nami, a lane that was meant to get ahead, fell down, you know, got solo killed. And then I think the draft was actually very, very smart there from DCG. They take the blue side and they do the Gragas Yone flex to perfection and actually managed to get themselves 2 pretty solid matchups, right? It is the Yone versus Nar that while solo kill had an advantage, it wasn't anything that could translate into anything more. And the Gragas as well meant that Akali kind of thought she'd have a good matchup mid, but instead was completely neutralized. And I think that on the side of Frank, if you can, probably should ban away the Gragas in the first 3, because I think it's just such a good neutralizer and they flex it so well. It just makes it so difficult. Can't remember exactly what their first 3 bans are.
Forward side, sorry?